Good afternoon, everybody.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening here.
And welcome to Thursday PD. I'm Georgina, and next to me is
Eric.
Hey, I'm Eric. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah.
I'm Gary here from the Philippines. And to my left.
Carry on. I was just jumping in. Julius live from Singapore. Good evening.
Hello, it's Adriana, live from Malaysia, soon to be Indonesia, one day.
Good evening, Shannon. We have a viewer now.
Nice.
Welcome.
Okay, welcome.
And welcome to everybody who is joining us in the chat. Let us know where you're joining from. Drop your name, your Twitter handle if you'd like to connect with us, or any other social media platforms that you'd like to connect, and let us know how you're doing today. We have a very exciting show for you guys today, all about reconnecting relationships. And so, as some schools have already started back in our group and around the world globally, and some are going to be starting back soon, like mine in a couple of weeks. So it's a really good topic to be talking about, right, guys? How are we doing? How are we going to build those relationships with students that are returning and new ones coming in? So I thought what we could do to get started today is just share what we have been doing to practice well-being over the summer, because we certainly look all chirpy getting ready for back to school. So what's everybody been up to for well-being this summer? Who would like to start?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you my well-being. So I packed my house up into 4 suitcases. Very therapeutic. I Marie Kondoed my house. Nice. I basically got a skip for 2 days and moved everything into it that wasn't breathing, and some that was, and so my house is totally bare. I have basically 1 chair, 1 bed, 1 desk, and 4 suitcases. So I'm ready. Oh, and 6 animals, but I'm ready and poised to go whenever I get the call to go. So it has been really therapeutic to clear out my house and minimalize my life. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm really glad to hear that your animals were not in the suitcase. That was like a big heart for me, Adriana. So thank you for that. But no, and that's the reality for lots of people, right? So I'm really sorry you're having to go through that, Adriana. It's not an easy time with quarantines leaving, quarantines entering new places, and then your fluffy family, we have to make sure they're taken care of. So yeah, it's not easy. Has there been anything that you've been doing during your packing weeks that you've been able to just like unwind and recoup?
That was my unwinding. Yeah.
Okay.
Just trolling through everything and just seeing, and even like the packing in the suitcases. Like I packed the suitcases. I had 8 suitcases, and then I repacked, and I had 6 and 4. And even now I open them and think, why are you packing this cake storage unit? You've never even used it in Malaysia. What makes you think you're going to use it in Indonesia? It's like, yeah. So I have these clear outs still. I'm going to make it 3 suitcases. Yeah.
Nice.
All right. So who else would like to share?
Okay. Let me continue with how am I doing with my mental health. I keep myself busy. So this is my 4th session for the day. So I keep myself busy. Connecting with the cohort for VIA 20, meeting people from APAC. The first one for today was Google Philippines introducing G Suite for everyone, because the Google is going to supply all students and teachers for public schools here in the Philippines a G Suite for Education account. So we'll be busy soon training teachers and students.
Cool.
That is really awesome. And I think it's so helpful to everybody. Guys, the content you guys have all been putting on all summer is just phenomenal. So thanks to Gary and to all of you around the screen that have been doing that, because you're helping so many teachers. Gary, and shout out to you because you have hosted the only member from APAC who put on something really special from Google for Education at the Anywhere School, right? So let us know what you did there.
Well, I was asked by Google to create a short video clip introducing G Suite for Education. What is G Suite is all about? This is basically a video for parents on how they can assist their kids and how to help them with the use of the G Suite tools to connect with teachers, to work on their assignments. How can they switch between tools? So basically, I created a short video clip. It's a series of video clips, toolkit for families. So that's what I did. So I am honored to be part of it. I'm the only Asian there. The rest are from Europe and the US, and there you go.
Cool.
No, that is super awesome, and we'll wait for you to pop that on the screen so that everybody else can share that with their communities too. Thanks, Gary.
Okay, thank you. I'll look for it.
Cool. What about Julius?
Well, you know that little yellow man in Google Maps? I'm that person because I've been exploring every single street of Singapore for the past 7 weeks.
Wow.
Cycling, walking, just like enjoying, and then meeting other teachers and so on. On top of that, a bit of networking, a lot of time spent on social media, and just trying to create relations and I don't know, just get ready for the next year in a more relaxed way, kind of.
So I wanted to understand, obviously we all know the little yellow person, but were you physically out walking and cycling, or were you just taking him around the map?
Literally physically, every day I went for a bike trip or for walking or for a run. And then I've been exploring every single street for the past 7 weeks, like physically going out.
That's really awesome. I'm very happy to hear that. That's cool. Do you guys have like social distancing over there? Like as far as when you go out on your bicycle, do you have rules to keep certain space, or is it okay?
No, that's the only thing that's kind of free to not to be socially distanced. But otherwise, there's a rule for the restaurants and for like public places. You can only meet up to 4 people, so maximum 5 people, and the masks are mandatory. And even right now, as we started school on Monday, a lot of restrictions, and it's still like in June. So Singapore hasn't moved to the next phase, and it's still under pressure.
But it's good to hear that you can cycle a little bit more freedom. So that's really nice.
Yeah, that's the only freedom that we have. I hope you guys have like a better. I don't know, no requirements or social distancing and so on. I've heard that different countries have they eased up the restrictions or they're not, and we are still like tight.
Yeah, I think every country is pretty different. So but it's interesting to hear that you can at least cycle. I really liked hearing that. So I miss cycling outdoors. Yeah. That's good. All right, Eric.
Cool. Well, I spent the first part of the summer catching up on Westworld and everything else that I'd just been like putting off, and so that was nice. And I gained a lot of weight, and then I spent the rest of the summer trying to fit into my pants for the first day of work. Won't say it was a massive success. I did go to the store, anyway. So to get some new ones. But it's still pretty relaxing, which is good. Yeah, and we a friend of mine had quit urging me to exercise as much because he got 2 kids that were taking up all of his time and attention. And now he found a bike trailer for them, so we can go out biking now, and he can drag his kids who only cry some of the time. So yeah,
that's so awesome.
Yeah,
drag his kids. I love that. Drag his kids.
Let's go.
Yeah.
It's hard to drag kids, to exercise.
Yeah,
I'm the one being dragged in the bed.
I'm dragging you.
Yeah.
You certainly get a good upper body workout after that, though, right? A couple days of that.
It's true.
Oh, that's great. Oh, this is wonderful. All right, cool. So for myself, I think I'm pretty much that way. In Eric's situation, I gained quite a lot of weight during COVID. And so I actually am proud of myself, though. It's been a week and a half. I've been getting back on the treadmill every day, including right before the show. So I'm trying to make sure that I get that exercise in. In here in Jordan's, we can, go out and walk around. But if they, put curfew back at all or anything like that, then we're really restricted to just like our block if that happens. So I'm really, we invested in a treadmill after the first big COVID thing hit. And then, so now we can, work out at home a little bit. So I'm trying. So let's see. And it gives you endorphins, right, guys? Like, I don't have any children to drag or any big dogs to drag around with me or on the treadmill, but no, I think it's good for giving you positive energy and get those endorphins going. So yeah, and let us know in the chat, guys. What are you guys doing for well-being coming back into the new year? What have you been doing to relax and get going? And let us know. So today we want to basically take a look at relationships and how we can help not only our students, but also our colleagues. So it could be you're in leadership, could be you're an instructional coach, etc. Could just be that you're a loving colleague and you'd like to be able to reconnect with people. Because for myself, and as for most of you, and I think some people on the call even longer, it's been at least like 5 months that I haven't seen anybody from work. And so what does that look like? How are we going to feel talking to each other? Do we continue where we left off, or do we have to do some things in between? So we wanted to ask you guys first, when we want to reconnect with the current circumstances, do you think that relationships will be different or will they not be different? And if so, how do you think that will look like possibly?
I feel like it's really hard because I see people in masks and I can't even recognize sometimes students that I know very well at first. I can't. It's like there's this period of time when I'm like, do I know this person? Do I not know this person? And my body language is already acting less familiar than you see people that you have this close relationship with, and you want to be appropriately warm for the level of closeness that you have with them. And yeah, it's really hard to recognize students. I want them to have like a flashing name tag on their mask. So like to replace all of the recognition that I would get for what I'd normally see of their face. So yeah.
It's really interesting you said that, because I think in our last call, we were talking a little bit about masks with Seti, weren't we, Gary, on the last call? And he was saying
the transparent mask.
That's it.
Wow. Yeah. I didn't catch that. Wow.
Because you don't see the face. So
yeah,
I don't know where is it available, but at least you, as a teacher, you need to see your students need to see your face, so they are more engaged. So you can, they can relate more with you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, we have these face shields at school, that every teacher has and we have like two types. The one with the band that you can put in front of your face, like a knight. And the other one is just like attached to your glasses. So when you teach, you're allowed to use that instead of a mask. But later, once the class is over, you need to put the mask back.
Gotcha.
Okay. Because here in the Philippines, we are asked now to wear mask and the face shield. That is why
Korea,
it's so
Korea's
hard.
the same. Yeah.
What did you say again? What again? What? It's so difficult now.
And also the voice, like I haven't been there yet, right? Because I haven't gone back yet. But like I'm hearing from colleagues who have returned that they get sore throats pretty quickly because they're trying to elevate their voices to talk through the masks.
I wonder. I mean, like I don't know. I think opinions vary, but I feel like you can project pretty well through a little piece of cloth. So I wonder. Man, people might hate me for this, but how much of it's like psychological? Because you might feel one way, but come on, it's a little piece of fabric.
Yes.
So, oh my gosh, I'm gonna regret saying that. Anyway.
I only said it. No, it's okay. But I only said it because, like, when I go to the grocery store to get bananas, like yesterday, I had just like my cloth N95 mask on, but like the people, they couldn't understand me, and they said again, sorry, I can't hear you. So I had to speak up. So I wondered, you know.
Well, and I have to say too, though, looking at someone's face, there's a large percentage of understanding that comes from, like, of course, there's lip reading for people who can't hear, but how much of it are we doing when we unconsciously, you know? Because I definitely use what I see to help me differentiate between similar sounds, and yeah, so we might be relying on that more than we know. Yeah.
And Seti mentioned in the comments that, as in, you know, that some people may be introverted. He says, you know, when combined with a face shield, the shield could bounce sound back, and then could hurt people's ears.
Yeah. Because he's really loud. No. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a him thing.
Yeah. I keep on laughing at Stethy's stuff. He's like keeps on posting funny stuff over there.
I tried to reword it carefully, but you know.
I would say in Malaysia, like, wearing face masks it's quite normal. If someone has a cold here, they put a face mask on. So it's not that big a deal that when they said put face masks on, there weren't many complaints.
Yeah.
We just put face masks on, you know, and there wasn't a lot of fuss. I just put a link in the chat, though. There's a lady that makes face masks that are just your face. So you got a mask on, and it's projected a photo of your face. So that looks thoroughly weird.
Especially because the expression
really
doesn't
weird.
change, and you might be really grumpy, but your mask is happy, or the other way around, you know.
Or what if it doesn't align? What if it's not proportionate?
Yeah, totally. Sometimes
it's actually made for you.
Definitely mismeasured. They're like massive lower half on your
That's even funnier.
By the way, I really hope that somebody can come up with something, because a coworker mentioned this phenomenon. She's like, "What's a word for that? It doesn't exist yet. There's a new phenomenon in the world where you get to know somebody. Talk about relationships. You get to know somebody, and you haven't seen their lower face. They do this big reveal after you've known them for like a week, and you're like, whoa, who the heck is this? You don't know. It's like a massively different than what you imagined under the mask.
Surely that's just like when you first get naked with somebody. Surely that must be like that. Or when you wake up and you realize that the lady hasn't got her makeup on anymore.
There may be a connection there. There may be a connection there.
So we're gonna move back to well-being, since we're done with masks now. But thank you for that. Yeah. And okay. Redirect, exactly. Okay, but seriously, guys, so relationships, you know, I want to know what you guys are thinking, because I have at our school, we have some students that are not rejoining at all, that we've never met before, and then we have some students that are rejoining. And so far the plan is to go back regularly, you know, with social distancing and safety precautions, obviously, but going back in person. But we won't be able to meet some people. So I have different situations that are happening, and I'm wondering, like, how we might look at what does that look like, and how might we build those relationships. So what do you guys think?
I mean, I have a homeroom with grade 11s, and they are absolutely lovely, but the first week was just silence, absolute silence. And these kids know each other from previous years, but they don't know me, and it's painful. I don't like silence anyway. And it was really, how do you build a relationship when you're not even in the school yourself, and you know, they're not there in the school. So I've started designating different days. So we've had breakfast together on a Wednesday morning. We all had breakfast, and that was nice. And we invite other teachers now. So I've started inviting the new teachers that they don't know. And we have Hat Fridays, Soft Toy Mondays. We've done scavenger hunts where I shout out something, they have to go and, well, when I say run, they're grade 11, so they're like begrudgingly get off their chair and go and find me a full cutlery set or something in their house, just to try and get some sort of connection going. It's really hard. It is really hard. Yeah.
And I was curious to ask Adriana, when you said like, the breakfast mornings, which I'm really excited about, I just took a note of that. Are you doing that virtually? Like everybody brings their own breakfast to the meet then, or do people cook together, or what does that look like?
No, because they're all at their houses in Surabaya. So we basically, we bring our breakfast together and we talk about our breakfast. And it's things like, what's your favorite spread? If you what's your eggs? Are you a boiled egg person? Are you a fried egg person? And and then someone else asked the question that what do you eat, miss, if you were having breakfast at a mamak here? And it'd be like nasi lemak. Oh yeah, we've got that. It's all good. So slowly we have started. But I've told them my plan is once we all physically get together, we are definitely still carry on with breakfast. So it'll just be someone's all bringing a nasi lemak for us all. Someone's bringing, I honestly misread one of them, and one of them said, I have chocolate in between bread. And I literally thought he meant like a bar of chocolate. Of course he doesn't. He means Nutella's bread or something like that. But I'm like, oh my God, we're seriously going to have a bar of chocolate sandwich? And then he had to explain it to me like I was a 5-year-old. Yeah, brilliant.
I really love that. And Shannon mentioned earlier she uses Flipgrid to get to know her students as well. So then it got me thinking as Adriana was talking about food breakfast, so maybe they could like even, show them cooking themselves their breakfast, possibly depending on age and dress, of course. But yeah, that could be some fun ideas. So thanks for sharing, Shannon. And I like Shannon's emoji. She had like that whole egg in the frying pan. I like that a lot. Yeah, there we go. I love that. Okay, Julius, what do you think?
Well, I'm a bit with Adriana. I really like that kind of introduction to get to know them. Well, we already started school on Monday, and due to restrictions and stuff, we couldn't mingle. So basically, the in terms of like relations, on how you create relations and stuff. Unfortunately, I think we're really lacking in this. So all the meetings are like again online, and then we're doing this. So we haven't figured it out yet. My main thing was just like, as a coach, I want to create relations and I want to continue and I want to know everyone, right? But because of these circumstances, I need to go and to meet. But then we usually meet in the staff lounge, in the canteen, and then we drink a coffee together. And nothing works right now. So I have to redefine the whole concept of relations and meetings and getting to know each other somehow. I'm waiting for any suggestions.
No, that's why I wanted to talk about it today. Like,
Yeah.
We received the timetable and there's like, a coffee meetup, and I'm like, oh no. And it makes me feel hesitant to go because I don't want to get sick, as none of us want to get sick, right?
We're not allowed. Yeah, we have like ambassadors, like guardians, and they're not letting us meeting.
Wow.
So yeah.
I was thinking to create like, they have those like GIFs, or actually I found out that it's GIF, guys, but that's another conversation for another day. My husband was laughing at me. Yeah, he showed me the inventor of GIF, and he showed me him receiving an award, and he's like, it is pronounced GIF with a J, and I was like, no. So now I've lost that battle altogether.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but back to the point, I was thinking like maybe to take like a GIF or an image in the middle of something while we're having coffee, and people could like, chat about it, like a question or, a meme or anything, just to get people talking digitally. But yeah.
I would say on that point, joining a school, and there's about 10 of us all around the world. And Georgina will know this from Cairo, that in like Cairo and here in Malaysia, when we had our induction together, it really builds relationships and links. And, that for me is had like long lasting friendships and stuff. But this one is painful. This is, I set up a chat group with all the newbies and was saying, who wants a virtual coffee? Nothing. Like no one responded out of the new group, because we're all unique in this situation. No one will ever be in this situation again. But it's been really hard to, I've just given up. And, gone for existing teachers to build relationships. But we are all really struggling. When I hear the stories about, people struggling with accommodation where they are, getting out, mental health, it's a waiting game. We're in flight or fight, stuck in the middle. I'm really struggling, but I'm lucky, I'm fortunate in the position that I'm in. But we're all doing it alone when we should be doing it together. Nobody understands our situation but each other, So I've kind of made them have a coffee with me tomorrow. It's teachers only day, and I've kind of cornered a couple of them and went, let's have a coffee together. You will be my friend. So I'll let you know what happens.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I had mental pictures of you like, no. Oh, I love that. So Shannon talks about a staff-wide Flipgrid discussion, different culture building topics. Yeah, absolutely. Really good idea. I was also thinking when Adriana was talking, maybe like, how we do like breakout rooms for lessons and stuff, maybe people could just have coffees in their teams, and maybe they're shy to have a coffee and share how they're feeling in front of like the whole school or the whole department. Maybe they could have it in smaller teams to start with, maybe.
Yeah. Well, it's also like a sort of a cohort thing. I mean, the idea is that if you at least contain your maybe somewhat increased risk within a given cohort, then the society as a whole is not at great as much risk. So that could work with smaller groups like departments as well.
I love that. And I love Shannon and Adriana connecting, because Thursday PD is one of my favorite PLNs, and now they've become best coffee buddies. I would love an invite to that too, guys. I love coffee too. Let me know.
Brilliant. We'll organize that and really scare the new staff. Hi, these are my other friends. Come on.
Oh, I love it. This is brilliant. But this is true. This is the kind of thing we got to think of, right? We got to think like outside that box. Let's just get rid of that box and let's start building from scratch. But it's so true. Like, we have to think of new ideas to reach people in new ways. Sethi says time for a coffee with a stream. Oh, I like that. Yes, let us know in the chat, guys, if you would like to have this added to the channel. Awesome. I don't know if Sethi's joining us or not, but we appreciate him at least adding his wisdom to the chat. Love it. Gary, what do you think? Do you think relationships are going to be the same or different over in the Philippines? I want to know what it's like in your part of the world.
Can't hear you.
It will never be the same. It will be different, but it's easier now to connect because you have to connect is basically go online. It's easier now to connect with friends. I just received a message from a friend from a high school classmate that he'd like to have a reunion. So I'll be organizing one for all of us because we have an original plan to have a reunion on December. So everyone should go back home, go back here in the Philippines. But now, no more problem with if you're not in the Philippines, you can still join because we'll have it.
That is so
online.
exciting! A reunion.
Yeah, after 20,
That is so
30
cool.
years.
But this has inspired that idea for me. Maybe I could set up like homeroom reunions. Maybe the teachers of the homerooms from last year could have little reunion meetups before they start the next school year. Maybe.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a good way to connect, prepare yourself for online classroom, for distance learning. You meet first with fellow teachers, so you know how they are. Now we have to adjust. We have to adjust as an educator before we can face our students well. Now we also need to adjust ourselves.
I really love that. And what about What do you guys think about like having students have like buddies for check-ins? What are your thoughts on that? Like either during the school day or after? How might that look like? What do you guys think? Or even for staff?
I think that's a very good idea, and we implemented that kind of idea to have a buddy. And because like we had new teachers, we had like 12 new teachers coming from overseas, and they had to serve like quarantine in designated hotels and stuff. The school and the leadership assigned them buddies. So basically, each one of us had a buddy, and we had to check with them, and then kind of from like the same department and stuff. And I think that was a really, really good idea, because just imagine yourself going to a new country for the very first time. You're locked in a hotel room for like 14 days without even going outside. All you see is just like people in hazmat suits, right? Coming to you and just like getting swamped and stuff, right? So you need a person just to communicate. And then when you escape, when they release you, you have someone that will take you around and will show you what you need to do. And I think it's like really, really important. Again, it's for well-being.
Yeah.
It's also
I think it's really.
Same with students.
Do you think? Sorry, Eric, you go first, and then I'll ask a
No,
follow-up.
I was Gary, I think, maybe.
Oh,
it's a good point that Julius made, because we have to ask our students how they are. A basic Google form can do that, just to know how they are, because sometimes we cannot ask each student how they are. Maybe with the use of other tools, we can ask them, so maybe they'll be honest to say that they are not okay, so we can focus on them later on. Because not all students are very vocal about their feelings, so it's good to have a check-ins every day, especially this time.
I love that. And that kind of brought us to the next point, which was, what tools or strategies could we put in place to help with well-being check-ins? Yeah, what do you guys think? What else could we use? So we talked about Google Forms from Gary. What else is out there? And please, in the chat, guys, drop your ideas too.
We have a counselor session in the new school. So every 2 weeks there's like one lesson with the counselor and the grade, and she did this fantastic using that Mentimeter, Menti.com. And every day the homeroom tutor's going, how's everything? Do you need to talk to me? Anything going on? It's all good, miss. It's fine. And then when they were writing it, and she's like, just give me 2 or 3 words about how you're feeling. And this word wall just was building in front of us on the screen. And there were words like scared, lonely, isolated, afraid, unsure. And these are words that they will never say to you. Who's going to say, how you feeling, kids? Oh, I'm really afraid, actually. What's going on? I'm scared. What's happening? And it was just amazing. And us as homeroom teachers are like, oh, my goodness, I can't believe that these words are coming out, and what are we doing about it? So it was really, really good to have that. It still didn't narrow down who it was, but at least we know that these feelings are out there and they're telling us. And already the counsellor's saying to us, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to, help them, support them for all these things? But it was a real eye-opener. Brilliant, brilliant tool.
I really like that, counselors, like having the counseling department involved. We have that at our school too, but I wondered, I don't know actually, because I'm not involved directly with them, but I wonder if we should think about having them get involved before the first day of school, like do that check-in, call them at home, see how people are doing, maybe the homeroom teacher as well. It's an interesting point.
We did that, actually. The homeroom teachers kind of informed us that they try to connect with the students over the holidays just before they came back. Because, even again in Singapore, there was a survey for the whole citizens about what do they feel about the restrictions. And in Singapore, when you go to the supermarket, you need to scan, you have like a QR code, you need to scan it, you need to tap in your details, and then they will take your temperature, and then you need to sign another form. And then for every single shop inside that mall, you need to do that again and again. And once I went to the supermarket, and I even got like so angry, and I even asked that guy that if I buy milk, do I need to scan that one as well? For every item. And just because of that, like people already are already frustrated. They don't want to go anywhere. They don't want to do anything, and they we had to ask the students and then ask them like, how do you guys feel? What's your opinion? What's your impression on this? How do you feel? Do you need support? Do you need any help? And the counselor actually came to us and they said that the whole summer they've been busy. They've been working tirelessly. Yes, nonstop.
I think that's very interesting, and I'm sorry everybody has to sign papers at every store. I can't imagine being in that situation.
It's the new normal is another way of just like trying to get something, just imagine usually you want to go down to the next store and just to buy something, just some chips. You take your phone with you, take your ID card, and then sign up the whole form, and then sign out when you leave.
So you sign in with the pen that everyone uses?
No. You sign it with
thank you.
An electronic form.
You're good. Just checking.
Some of them have some of them, if you go to like this local HDBs, like little stores, they have a pen actually, but they have like the
stuff next to it. Yeah,
and they clean it immediately.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I'm just checking.
Yeah.
And so what I'm also hearing, there are things like, and we didn't actually say the word yet, but we have been together in this show, really empathizing with each other's situations because we're all in different countries. It's all different situations, and we've really been empathizing. And I think empathy may be a really big, the main focus, the core focus for going back to school, and how can we empathize with everybody's situations. Do you guys think every student's situation is going to be the same if they're all online, or do you think it's going to be different?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of everybody's different. Some people are just totally happy to be by themselves. It's an introvert extrovert thing. Some people are going to suffer a lot more in social isolation. They just need to be physically closer to people, and so you have to keep an eye out and see if you can find the people who need the most help. But it's a guessing game a lot of times.
I love what Shannon said there about the passion wall, and I think that could be really excited. We also talked about things like joy projects as well in a book study that I was at recently. So how are our students finding joy? How are our coaches, our teachers, our senior leaders, and like sharing a joy moment or something that they're passionate about could help them feel re-energized maybe for the day or for the week. So yeah, Shannon, loads of ideas from Shannon.
Yeah,
we'll get you on
I'm
here in
taking
the
notes.
next week, Shannon. Yeah, exactly. Good.
Yeah.
And also we have a special guest that I'd like to bring in. And so Gary, can we invite our special guest all the way from the UK today, joining us? Hi, Wendy.
Hello, how are you? Sorry I look so hot. I've just rushed from an appointment.
Wendy is a superstar, guys. Not only is she like an amazing, inspiring Googler, but she literally just rearranged her whole day to join us on Thursday PD. So Wendy, introduce yourself. Let us know where you're from, what you do.
Oh, hello everyone. My name's Wendy Pesquet, and I'm a learning technology trainer and Google trainer, like a lot of you I can see here. And my passion project for my Google Innovator project was all about staff and support staff and teacher wellbeing. And hopefully we'll get a chance to talk about the site I've put together there that Georgina's just put up online for me. So yeah, I'm based in London, and I've had a lovely morning, and then I had to run for an appointment and got back here really quick so that I can join you guys.
We're so grateful to have you, Wendy, and we just popped that website in the chat for everybody. It's called Feel Better EDU. And Wendy, I don't know, do you want to share your screen and navigate yourself to let us know how teachers can take advantage of the awesome resources that you're sharing there, or would you like me to navigate? It's up to you.
If you can navigate it, that'd be fine. Thank you. Just take it to the Find a Wellness page. That would be great.
Awesome. So let's pull the screen up. 1 second. Awesome. So this is Wendy's site. So I'll just click Wendy and you share, okay? You let us know.
So the homepage just tells you a little bit about why and how it came into being. And then this page, the Find a Wellness activity. You can click on the one just to the left of that one for me, Georgina. That's it. So the Find a Wellness activity is a searchable database. It's got about 45 different things on it at the moment, but I've got a lot more to add, and I'm just adding a couple gradually. But really what it's about is for teachers and support staff to find ways that they can be creative, they can value themselves, they can make time for themselves, they can learn, and lots of different things, and things like connecting. So they're based around being active, making time, connect. They're the sort of headings. And then you can search at the top with I would like to, and you can say I would like to. If you click on I'd like, the second that's it. If you click on that, I'd like to help taking breaks, or I'd like help to do this, or I'd like help to learn a language. And it gives you a few ideas of what you could use. And most of it's based around technology. So the things like the mindful break and healthy, then it takes you in and shows you how to install it. And it just gives you very simple instructions. There's nothing much on any of the pages. There's no lots of reading. It's just there should be quite intuitive to use. But basically you're going through it and you're finding things to do. So if you go back to, if you just refresh and go back to the whole Find a Wellness activity, there's simple activities on there like Best Bloom in Office, which is the top right one there. And I like this one because all of the ideas are based on things that you can do very, very cheaply, because I was sort of very mindful about we're working in education, and I know this is different all across the world, but certainly where I'm based in the UK, and especially in the FE sector where I'd been working for a number of years, there has been no money for staff wellness. There has been no money at all for any extras, and we were on severe cuts with staff being losing their jobs, so there was nothing extra for anybody, and you could see my role was really going down and down. So I was trying to look around, you know, I was getting inspired by going into different organizations, visiting Google, where you get spoiled rotten, you know, and you get free food and you get all these different activities. And then I started to think, well, okay, we can't have that because we don't have the money. But whereas Google has a masseur, if we are working in FE, we've got people learning how to be masseurs on site. So maybe we could, local schools could use them, or maybe we could book our staff in to be the models for our students, so that we get to use those types of things as well. So basically I've tried to look at what's out there that big companies do, that they spend thousands on, and try to make it simpler that staff could do on a budget. But some of it's using technology, most of it is using technology, but some of it is just around connecting with people. And then it sort of got more difficult when we went into lockdown, because I've had to put things about be careful, think about COVID. And so those obviously gradually will come out of there, and then it will be more when we're back to normal. But at the moment, we've got this sort of half world where we're sort of social distancing in some places and not. But the one thing I'm very mindful of at the moment is very European. So I want to try and get some people from around the world to give me ideas. So a lot of this stuff is things that I've seen in the UK happening. I've had a couple of people from America and Canada send me some ideas. So they gave me something about a camp out that they have in the woods on a Friday night, which I've not seen anyone in the UK do. So that was sort of very related to the country they're in. But I want to take that wider. What do we do in the Middle East? What do you do that's different? Is there anything different? Could we add some more stuff that makes this more international? So that's what I'm trying to do. I want people to help me add to this.
Well, you were in the right place, Wendy. Guys, do you have questions for Wendy about this awesome stuff that she's, shared with us? Wow.
I just feel like I'm looking forward to exploring it. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
They are very simple ideas.
I've already sent it to our counselling because they wanted to do a wellness program, but they weren't quite sure where to start with it. So I was just like, oh, this is handy.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. Because although I've started this, I haven't pushed it out as hard as I could do yet. It wasn't the right time during the summer holidays. This I'm hoping will sort of gradually take off as people start to get back into school within the next few weeks. And I'm hoping by Christmas, that's when it will see its most, being more active. When people are back in, they've settled a little bit, and then they're thinking about themselves. Because although we all know that we should be thinking about ourselves first as teachers, we never do. It's always going to be the children first. So hopefully that's there for the teachers to use, and the support staff as well.
Yeah. Wendy, can I ask you a question? Is there going to be space for us to send examples in that you can post? I went to Julius's school in the olden days when we could travel, and at your school, Julius, you had a fika day, right? And and it was amazing. It's just so incredible how they, they developed this thing, and it's European, but we were talking about work, about schoolwork, and someone actually shushed
Yes.
us, didn't they? Because you're not
Work is
actually
about
allowed
yes,
to talk
exactly.
about work in that particular space. You have coffee. They had all these yummy food, and you're not
Excellent.
allowed to talk about work. That was amazing.
I've
Yeah,
added
definitely
a
send
Google
that in.
form on the homepage, and I think on the bottom of the Find a Wellness activity that just says if you've got anything you'd like added to this. I think there's please complete this form. So if you'd like anything added, because it's still in development, and I'm hoping it will keep developing. So if you think, oh, we did this, and I've got some photographs, if you can tell me, if you can write the blurb for it, and I'll put it on a new page and put it into the searchable activity, and then the pictures will be credited back to the school or organisation or person that puts it in. So it's not about it being my project anymore. It's now trying to encourage other people to share what they're doing and they've seen that works really well. And hopefully we'll get everybody all over the place doing this, and then we'll have loads of ideas that we've collated. I've put together as much as I can at the moment. Got a few more different ones to put in, but I'll do that gradually. But I've had a couple of people add to it already, so I'm quite pleased with that.
I am so excited. And guys, we had already, so Wendy, I know you just joined us, but we had some amazing ideas in the chat from Sethi and from Shannon, like passion walls and passion projects. And so I think you're going to have a lot of hopefully new ideas coming your way. But Wendy, this is such an incredible Google Innovator project you've done, and just in the nick of time. I know I shared this with everybody on the call today earlier this morning, and they were so excited when they found it. Wendy, let me ask you then, since you are just joining us, what do you think is going to be maybe a best tip that educators could look to, or strategy that educators could look to doing to help with well-being, either with their colleagues and or with their students? Did you have any ideas, since this has kind of been your thing?
The biggest thing I think is this kindness, because I think everyone's been so stressed lately, as we all know, and we're all. I was talking to someone else today that wasn't in education, and we've all talked about how we've all had moments where we've felt quite emotional. Some of us come into tears and some of us not, but not feeling right. You get up one day and you just don't feel on top of the world. And we were talking about, well, what helped you get out of that? And somebody mentioned, they said, well, actually, it was just somebody else saying something kind or doing something kind. And it could be as simple as somebody going and getting your coffee without asking. It doesn't have to be anything that's really big, but it's just, I really liked the one where I'd seen a school, and I can't even remember where I saw this. I've been to so many different schools, but a few years ago, somebody said to me that they'd been having a hard time, and one of their colleagues came in early and went into their classroom and just left them a really lovely message on their whiteboard, just to say, you're doing a fantastic job. You're a great teacher. We love you, blah, 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 all those sorts of things. But not only did it help lift that teacher's spirit, the children saw it too. They saw that act of kindness. And I think this is what we just need to do, pay forward. Go to the canteen if you can, if we're allowed to, and just leave £1 for a cup of tea for the next person that comes in looking like they need it, and tell the person behind the canteen, if someone looks like they're having a hard day, give them a free cup of tea on me. Something like that, really inexpensive to do, but it means the world to somebody, and you can really lift somebody's spirits in that way. I think be kind, that's it.
Oh, you have lots of love in the chat, Wendy. Look at that.
Oh, thank you.
So we were also talking about, so obviously Wendy's project is really awesome. We were also taking a look at boundaries. I thought maybe we could take a look at this. So we've shared a lot about what we could do, and I wanted some help with boundaries. Should we be setting any boundaries, like technology boundaries, like how much people should be online? Do boundaries like that help our well-being and wellness? What do you guys think about that topic? I would love to learn from all of you.
Well, I had some argumentative writing last year where students were picking their own topics, and some of them were saying, okay, we should have shorter. I can't remember exactly, but I'm going to say that, like, we should have shorter classes, longer periods in between because of this screen time issue, screen fatigue. And I was teaching my kids to think critically, and I'm not saying I was amazing at it, but this is my goal. And so I was looking at everything with a very realistic eye, and I'm like, okay, really, talk to me really. when class is over, you stand up and you close your computer, right? Phone off, right? You're not looking at your nobody. I'm like, you're making this argument as a person who is on your screen any chance you get, to people who are on their screens any chance they get. I mean, there's very few of us, adult or kid or anywhere in between, who really isn't, especially in a time when you're doing online everything. Then you're using your screen. I remember when I was a programmer many years ago, then I would be on my computer 8 hours a day, and I would get up, I would go home, and be like, and then I'd start my computer, and like that's just it's very common. So I don't know.
Julius, I remember we had a show in our last season, and I remember you being at the front of that with Sethi with loads of ideas. Do you have any tips, and what do you think about, that could support boundaries that we may have to set up or that we could think about?
Yeah, two things. One, to follow up from Eric, actually, I had a class today, grade 6, the BYOD intro session for the new kids bringing their laptops. And every time I told them half mass, you keep your laptop 45 and eyes on the teacher, pay attention. And every time when they closed the laptops, the head went down, they wanted to see every single detail. That was so funny, really. Well, regarding boundaries, it's something interesting. It's I want to share an article with you. I will just drop the link in a second. The article is called "We've Got to Mine the Gold." So this one comes from Victoria, which is in Australia, which is right now in lockdown again. And apparently they, after the first session of online learning that happened in March, April, right? After the first session, they realized that some students were disengaged during this period, but other students flourished. And actually, it's totally opposite from the school, because at school you have some students, they're engaged, and some others are not, right? Some are coming to school just for pictures and then showing us the new trends they have, right? And right now they realize that it's we've discovered gold, right? And we need to mine the gold. So how do we select? How do we keep in the same batch those students who flourish in the class and also those one who do it online? How does this blended learning works, right? In more than blended learning, how does overall holistic learning, including all of them? And the idea is about the mental health, how you support them and how the students can be engaged in both scenarios, right? At home and in school as well. And related to tools, they recommend all the tools. The idea was just to combine all the tools. It's something like what we saw on Wendy's website right now. It's just tools for well-being. I would like to probably I stay too much on the computer, or what are my boundaries? Should I be dependent on the devices, or should I use my phone more often, or what sort of activities? Because in the end, it's tailored. So how do I share this article? It's
Give me the link.
I'll send you the link. Yeah, I would totally suggest you to watch this article, to read it, and then you'll understand it. And in the end, it's personal. You come to the conclusion that my students might be engaged online, and I would prefer, yes, to continue online learning with my students who were totally engaged online. And also in the class, I will do a bit of differentiation, but not on differentiation based on the progress and the performance, but based on the well-being and the way they feel more engaged.
Can I just say, in my new school, that the amount of time they spend online through the day, I see them at 7:30 for homeroom, and then I see them at 3:00 for homeroom, to make sure that they were there the whole day. That's a really long day. I'm like, oh my gosh. But it's based on parent feedback. Parent feedback was given to the school. This is the revised online. So it's constantly being revised to suit. And at no stage in the conversation was it, are we educating the parents about this? It's so if the parents are saying, I want my kid online from 7:30 to 3, well, what are we doing to reach out to the parents and say, well, let's just talk through what let's get some research behind us to back it up. Let's run some workshops, shall we? Like this. So we're working on a structure so that we can actually say, this is what you are expecting your child to do. I suggested, why don't we have a whole day? where the parents are online for the whole day. And then
Mm.
maybe they can empathize with it. And when they sort of say, oh, I've got to tune out, it's study time. Off you go to your homeroom teacher. Because the very thing that they're asking them to do, it's too much. It's really too much. But they don't know any better, you know. So they're just like, I need to get my money's worth, perhaps. I need to get value for this. And so we need to show them the balance. So, yeah, we're going to roll out some parent workshops in the hope that we can tell them this is the research behind it. This is our recommendations as experts. We're not just educational experts now. We've been doing this for months. We're now online experts. We've got it. We've got it.
I had to send an email to a parent today because the student came to school with that parental control, 1 hour of screen time only, and then ran out.
Whoa.
You have 2 minutes of the time left. And I was like, I'm just installing the software right now. It's just like going through this. So I had to write an email to disable that. Just imagine having these parents, right? I mean, not in a bad way. Just
you know what though? At least as educators, like having done emergency remote learning for a few months, at least we have a bit of an idea, right, guys? And maybe we are, maybe we're not experts, but for sure, I love Adriana's idea because for sure the parents are not experts. They're not learning online every day for 5 months. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there are a couple parents that are doing online courses, but for the most part, they're not, right? So I like Adriana's idea. I might also recommend that myself, is that let's have a day of learning for parents so that they can empathize with the staff and their kids as well. I like that.
Because again, the whole thing as well, whenever they say the schools have been closed, it's like the physical space has been closed. They keep saying it. The physical space is closed. We're not closed. We've been online. Learning is still going on. It's just that it's going on in a different way. But yeah, we haven't shut any schools, people.
Wendy, what do you think about like boundaries for screen time and things like that?
So I've not been working with students. I'm just working with adults. So the bit I focused on is just the adults. And the one I put onto the site was about starting and setting yourself an end of day routine. So really making sure you think about the last sort of half an hour of your day and what you do in that half an hour. And then the last bit should be just to not start anything new at the end of the day in that last 5 minutes. Just tidy up a few things, sort some emails out. But then what is your end of day routine? Is it that you're not going to go back to your computer for work? Not saying you're not going to go for personal, but it's really about not dictating to people, but just saying there should be some routine. You should get yourself into a habit and you need to rethink what you do. So if your habit now is working at home, if that's your norm, then it's more difficult to walk away from your work. And I think it's even more important to think about that end of day routine now, because if, like me, you're 5 steps away from your sofa where you're sitting, you could just keep coming back to the screen all day, all night. And a lot of people have been doing that. And I think that's why people are so fatigued. So I think if you set yourself some boundaries and set yourself something that this is what I'm going to do. And in the evening, if I do come back to do anything, I'm certainly not going to do X, Y, and Z until the morning. They are my planned things for the morning when I'm fresher and ready to work. So I think it's just setting yourself some boundaries, but we can't dictate what those boundaries are. They'll be different for every person, but people should be aware they need to have one.
I love that. And you have a lot of love again in the chat. I think people want to well, you missed the first part, but, Adriana was talking about dragging somebody else was talking about dragging their kids to exercise, literally.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think people want to drag you, Wendy, and just keep you next to them. There you go. So
that was me this morning. I went for a long walk and it was my older son making me drag my teenager out. So we did that this morning.
Oh, that's lovely. Well, listen, we're coming up to the last couple minutes before the end of today's episode. So we're just going to do a really rapid round robin around the table before we thank our lovely guest, Wendy. So maybe we'll end with Wendy and we'll start the other way, wherever my fingers are pointing. This is always awkward on the screen. I never know where to go. Diagonally is definitely not the right way to go though, right? Okay, so guys, rapid fire, last thing, what would be your your go-to tool or strategy or activity for check-ins, either at the beginning of the day or at beginning of the lesson. So what's your go-to, something really quick that teachers can do to help them check in with their kids?
Google Docs, share it with everyone, and then let them express their feelings using Google Docs shared to everyone, the rest of the class.
Julius?
Okay, maybe, I guess more communication. It's, just creating these relations.
So more round tables, maybe?
I'm more like a people's person. So more, I'll give you a coffee, be my friend. I'm your friend.
So that's cool though, but bring something to
coffee.
share, get to know
Just
people.
about coffee now.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's cool.
That's totally how Julius and I met, right?
Exactly,
We were like,
yeah.
we're conference hosts. We just see each other around the food table at
All the time,
Google.
all the time, yes.
That is so cool.
Definitely.
All right, Adriana?
I do the same thing online that I do if we were in a class together. I just talk at them until they engage with me. And maybe that annoying little mosquito that's just, how you doing? What's happening? Who's that in the background? Say hi to mum. Is that your brother? Yeah, so I just constant chitty chatter. And then there's a couple who are very quiet, and I just wave goodbye to, once I say goodbye to their name, they go off screen, and then I'm left with the quiet ones that I just might have a little quiet talk to, so they don't miss out. Yeah.
Adriana, you have a beautiful personality, and I'm sure that all of your students and colleagues have beautiful relationships with you. You just have such a wonderful persona and such a lovely sense of humor. So yeah, that's brilliant.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Neil's here, and he is giving you a virtual high five, Adriana.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, Eric.
Well, I like to, at the beginning of the year, no matter what format it's in, I like to ask kids to tell me something good or bad or interesting that happened to them recently. But I say that the most important thing is that it's something that they, really felt good about, really felt terrible about, or at the very least was interesting. And if they can't think of anything recent, then they can go back until the moment they were born. Somewhere there was something that they had a feeling about. And so yeah, we tend to do that.
That is a fun one. I like that one, Eric. I'm not sure if I would use it with my super littles who don't have much to go back to, but definitely the older students or adults. Yeah, I love it, Eric. That's brilliant. Have you used it before? Have you tried it?
Oh, tons. Yeah. And the thing is, I said that if it's interesting, you don't have to worry about being interesting to other people. If it's interesting to you, I guarantee you, I will be interested in what you have to say. And so it's not just about like trying to impress or entertain. It's about, so you found $1, you lost $1, whatever, just anything that you cared about. That's all I care about.
I love that. I love that. Thank you. And Shannon loves it too. She says the good, bad, or the interesting. I haven't tried the interesting either, so I'm also going to take that on board and give that a try. Thank you, Eric. Wendy, what would you like to add? Do you have any quick ones that you have?
Very quickly, I've been showing some primary schools how to just use Google Classroom Poll just to do a quick check-in with their students. So they've been using emojis for the different emotions, and each day they ask the students to say which emoji they can relate to best. And the great thing about polls is you can turn off so that only the teacher can see the responses, and that way it gives you a very quick way to quickly get in touch with the ones that say they're sleepy or not feeling so great that day, because you can see very quickly and message them all.
I love that. Yeah, a simple tool in Google Classroom, but can be used so effectively and creatively with emojis. So thank you, Wendy. My tool, I think we actually shared it earlier in the chat, but I'll pop it again, is Jamboard. That's my favorite tool for check-ins for lessons, like pedagogy, as well as for emotional check-ins. So you can set up different boards. And the link that I shared is actually from Ditch That Textbook. So shout out to Matt Miller. And there was a guest blogger on his website that shared different Jamboard templates. So you have like the 2 truths and a lie, you have the fist 5, so I'm feeling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and students can take their sticky notes or emojis or images if they wanted to use the Google free image inserts to do it that way. So I really thought that was something that was super helpful. Jamboard too, yeah, that's great. So yeah, please, let's keep this chat going, guys. If you have other tools, resources, articles that you've read that you think will really help me and all of us as we think about reentry to school in building those relationships with students, as well as relationships with colleagues and leaders and vertically across all of our education community, then please share it in Twitter, for example, and tag Thursday PD, and we'd love to hear from all of you. And I also would like to give a massive shout out to our special guest, Wendy, joining from the UK today. Wendy, we're so honored to have you. Wendy, did you want to just shout out again your handles, and we'll drop your website and the link as well?
Lovely, thank you. So I'm either on @WendyPesquet or @FeelBetterEDU. And the website, you can just Google FeelBetterEDU and it will come up as a Google site. So yeah, easy to find.
Well, this is
Thank
wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining and sharing all of that amazing tools in the chat. Everybody said they're already sharing it with their schools. So thank you again, Wendy. And thanks to everybody in the chat for joining on this Thursday evening, morning, or afternoon. We're so grateful to have you guys. And stay tuned for next week. Eric, we have something exciting going on next week. What is happening?
Haven't finalized the title necessarily, but something about automating processes, just because like I like the idea of making things smoother and making things more automated so that we have more mental energy to focus on what this is really about, which is helping students, making those teachable moments the focus of everything instead of getting distracted by all the other things that take our attention.
I love that. I'm definitely tuning in for that one. So hit the subscribe button, guys, below. Turn on your notifications for Thursday PD and come learn with us. Thanks for joining and have a great weekend, everybody. Bye.
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 Yeah.